ATV 24/7 is brought to you by Can-Am ATVs. The ride says it all. Previously on ATV 24/7.
Dustin's young, you know, and he probably puts more pressure on himself than he needs to.
My teammate Chad was behind me and ended up running into me and taking us both out.
He said his arm's real sore, his hip's sore from landing on it. Otherwise he rides better when he's hurt, so I'm kind of excited now.
So do I envy him? Yes. Do I want to be just like him? No, but I do want his championship. It's not wrapped up who's going to win. It's going to be a gunfight till the end.
We are in Millville, Minnesota at Spring Creek Motocross. First time ever to visit this venue and to have a national here.
What they're going to see this weekend is some elevation changes they're not used to. There's some large hills, quite a bit taller than they're used to climbing.
They've got a lot of corners, they've got some downhill jumps that are going to be very interesting to watch.
They don't know what to expect until they actually take the track, so I imagine intimidation could be quite a factor this weekend.
Anything that's new is intimidating. You're uncertain of what to do in certain areas. You're going to make mistakes where you wouldn't normally on a track that we've gone to for years. Maybe a stupid mistake, where you say, what was I thinking? Something like that. Sometimes things like that will reach up and bite you. Sunday afternoon, somebody's going to pull a Christopher Columbus on us. They are going to stake their claim to this track as pros have done before. They will say, that's my track. You can't win there. Well, no one's ever won here. Someone will say, this is my place, this is my track, I will defend it, come back and see me next year.
One rider that wants to claim this track for his own is two-time champion Dustin Wimmer.
Everybody thought Wimmer was going to be the man to beat. He did win Pell City. He hasn't done too much or shown too much since then.
You okay?
What do you want me to say? I'm not winning.
Well, I understand that, but you all right?
I have nothing wrong. From winning 6 races last year and then coming into right now, I've only won 1 race. It gets you motivated, and you're definitely hard on yourself, but you kind of have a reason to.
Coming into this season, he probably wasn't thinking about that real hard, where now, you know, like you said, he hasn't been dominant this season so far. I think you're going to see things turn around over the next couple races for him.
He doesn't, to me, have the drive, desire, and the ambition this year that he's had in the last 2 years. A lack of devoted effort this year.
No, I don't think he's slipping. You know, he reached a certain level of competition and natural ability at one point in the last couple years where no one else really had that. If he wants to, again, take it another step, he's going to have to step it up even more and do more than he has been doing for the last couple years.
Under the Motorworks Can-Am tent, another racer sets his sights on the top of the box. 2005 champion and veteran ATV racer, John Natale.
Oh yeah, the Natale of 2005, you're talking about an Iron Man. Damn, man, he was a ball of energy. You were not going to get in his way. If you were out of his way, by whichever means possible.
If John wants the line and he sees a place to go, he's taking it. Most of those guys that we race with know that, and that's part of his edge.
John this year will have it going on like he's had in multiple rounds already, and he will do one moto. He won the moto at Balance there. He's back on top of his game in the second moto, boom, he breaks down. It just seems the karma factor is not with John this year. You've got to have 2 solid motos to win an event or to be in the top 3.
What John needs to do is find consistency. He needs to be able to go out and run that 20 minutes consistent.
We need to win. We come here to win, but now it's a need. I think if we don't win here, it'd be pretty hard to get that championship.
You know, sitting 3rd in points with the 2 Suzuki boys in front of us, as strong as they've been and no mistakes this year, I mean, I know that I got to go out there and finish in front of them.
If John Natale finds the consistency he's been looking for all year, watch out for the Iron Man.
As the pros prepare for their first moto, 23-year-old rider Jeremy Warnia attempts to rise in the ranks among these ATV legends.
My name is Jeremy Warnia. I'm from France, and I'm 23 years old. It's my first complete season in the AMA series, and that's it.
Yeah, we just call him Frenchie because obviously he's from France, and it's just something that stuck with him when we first met him.
I love him to death. He's a great rider, rides with a lot of heart and passion. In France, he's a rock star. He's as big as James Stewart is in the U.S. as he is over there in France.
Yeah, you run low pressure, don't you? 13? I'm running up in the 14s. Yeah. He's a great person. He's like the life underneath the 10. He's a real funny guy. I love the guy, and I think some of the times he sometimes gets lost and he changes a lot of stuff. You know, it is a mental game, and I mean, he's running against the top guys in the world, and he's coming over to an environment that he's not 100% used to, and I mean, he's kind of getting thrown to the dogs, and here you go.
I think everything is mental. I believe I can do it, and every weekend I learn, and I know I can do it better. I take some experience, and I try to move on this way, like to say, hey, now it will be podium because I know I can do it. To be aggressive like them and ride hard.
Jeremy Warnia, he came from France. He is the European national champion. He was in a league of his own over the big pond, and when he came over here, he went, uh-oh, what have I jumped into now?
Next on ATV 24/7, we return to the competitive world of youth ATV racing and meet one 9-year-old racer who faces adversities both on and off the track.
No marketing fluff. No ridiculous claims. Just a promise. The ride says it all. Can-Am. Find out for yourself at the Ride Says It All Tour.
The Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Streaming live all season long on allysports.com.
ATV 24/7 is brought to you by ITP Tires and Wheels with advanced traction technology. Previously on ATV 24/7.
Anything that's new is intimidating. You're uncertain of what to do in certain areas. Sometimes things like that will reach up and bite you.
We need to win. We come here to win, but now it's a need. I think if we don't win here, it'd be pretty hard to get that championship.
If you want to get down to the passion of this sport, you got to remember that out of an average of 760 entries per round this year, an average of 250 have been in the 13 youth classes. That's a lot of youth.
From West Point, Virginia, the Hopkins family will travel thousands of miles to support their 9-year-old son, ATV racer Eli Hopkins.
Eli's been racing quads since he was 5, and he's 9 now, so 4 years. He's well-behaved, structured, not a normal 9-year-old.
Got mine. Hey, I love you. Okay. Well, I love ATV racing because it's very fun. You get to travel across the world. I like hole shots, I like jumping. My favorite part is winning.
Over a year ago, it was unclear if young Eli Hopkins was ever going to live his dream of being an ATV racer.
When Eli got sick, we didn't know what was wrong with him. We had noticed he had lost weight, and we thought he had ear infection, so we took him to the doctor.
They had to rush me to the ambulance to another hospital. I had to get all these shots and checked.
In all the tests that they ran, they checked his blood sugar, and Eli was a diabetic, juvenile diabetic, which means he will never grow out of it. He has it for life.
Eli checks his sugar roughly 10 times a day. He gets between, I'd say 6 to 7, maybe 8 shots a day.
Eli was promised to run some ATV nationals, and that was his dream. So we missed Alabama, and I'll never forget, he looked at me in the hospital and said, "Dad, I don't care what we do or how this disease affects me, but I want to race quad still." And with that, we've put everything into it.
During Eli's first practice run, mechanical failures plagued his quad.
That sucks, man. We gotta ride the other bike. We're in trouble now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I ain't got time. We're in trouble. Big time.
With 15 minutes till their first moto, the Hopkins have to decide what steps they'll take for little Eli to compete.
Jeez.
Next on ATV 24/7, the Hopkins family scrambles to transform young Eli's practice bike into a racing machine. Can they do it with the clock breathing down their necks?
Only one tire brand that may claim to winning more ATV podiums than any other tire company out there. ITP. From the Quad Cross MX tire, designed for hard-packed tracks, to the Quad Cross XC, ITP's new cross-country racing tire. ITP sets the standard for high-performance ATV tires. And we've got the podium wins to prove it. Order your free ITP catalog today by calling 1-800-495-4080 or visit us on the web at itptires.com.
ATV 24/7 is brought to you by Can-Am ATVs. The ride says it all. As the pros prepare for their first moto, the expectations are high. For Jeremy Warnia, can he find the confidence he needs to get up into the top 5 of the race? For John Natale, currently 3rd in overall points, winning this moto is a must in order to have a shot at the championship. And for 2-time champion Dustin Wimmer, currently 2nd in points, winning this moto against teammate Josh Kramer would give him an edge to possibly a 3rd championship under his belt. Right off the line, Josh Upperman and Josh Kramer battle for position after the first corner. Kramer takes the lead. As Kramer distances himself from the pack, John Natale stalks rider Greg G for 2nd. Then Natale takes 2nd place, racing to catch Kramer. Warnia struggles to stay in the top 10. Then, 7 laps in, Can-Am teammate Chad Wienen passes Wimmer. Come on! And begins catching the other riders in front. Wienen passes Upperman and now trails in 3rd place behind Kramer and Natale. As Can-Am riders Natale and Wienen battle for 2nd place, Dustin Wimmer begins to surge from behind. Suddenly, Wienen takes 2nd from Natale. Wimmer continues to trail in 4th place, but slowly inches toward 3rd. The battle between Natale and Wimmer begins.
Come on, John, go!
In the final laps, Dustin Wimmer takes 3rd from Natale. But as the checkered flag flies, the victory goes to current points leader Josh Kramer, followed by Chad Wienen, Dustin Wimmer, and John Natale.
I was happy I finally got my start back. I was uncontested all moto.
You just getting the best of yourself or what? Just getting all mind tied up and...
No. The lines I was taking were not working, and then when I went to go take the lines I knew, he'd take that line.
What, he went 3rd? Wienen gets 2nd?
And I look back and he was in like 6th, man. Yeah. I'm like, yeah! I look back again, I'm like, fucker's in 3rd, damn it.
Meanwhile, over at the Motorworks Can-Am tent, the racers prepare for the 2nd moto. The results here in Moto 2 will determine the overall winner of Spring Creek. During the first lap, racer Josh Kramer gets the hole shot a second time and takes the lead, followed closely by Josh Upperman, John Natale, and Dustin Wimmer. Controversy on Josh Kramer's start fuels tempers inside the mechanics tent.
Starts on the blocks again, I'm gonna shank his tire.
See what I did?
Yeah, that's horseshit. He did it the first moto too.
Then, from out of nowhere, Chad Wienen finds his way into fifth. Natale continues to stalk Upperman for second as Wimmer trails behind. For French rider Jeremy Warnia, he trails at the far end of the pack. Then, Chad Wienen passes Dustin Wimmer and pushes next to Natale. As the leader, Josh Kramer, pushes onward, Team Can-Am advances against second-place contender Josh Upperman. Wienen takes second. Natale and Josh Upperman battle for third, while Dustin Wimmer stays in fifth. Natale passes Upperman for third. As the checkered flag flies, Suzuki rider Josh Kramer takes the top spot, followed by Chad Wienen, John Natale, and Dustin Wimmer. After both motos, the points were tallied up, and the top prize for the weekend went to Josh Kramer, followed by Chad Wienen, and for the first time this season, veteran Can-Am racer John Natale.
This weekend here in Millville went awesome for me. 2 hole shots, 2 wins, took an overall, so couldn't win any better, really.
This track up here in Millville is, man, I love it. I love how rough it is, and it suits my riding style, and ended up second overall. I mean, I could be happier, but I will definitely take a second overall compared to what has been happening, so.
No crashes for me this weekend. I was kind of excited about that, and it ended up good for us. I mean, Chad got second, and I got third, so we had 2 Can-Ams on the podium this weekend. You know, sitting third in points with the 2 Suzuki boys in front of us, as strong as they've been and no mistakes this year. I mean, it's just every round from here on out, they got the targets. I got to get in front of them. I got to beat them.
For 2-time champion Dustin Wimmer, this weekend at Spring Creek is the first time all season he did not make the overall top 3.
Last year I was down 30 points and came back with an injured shoulder, raced an injured shoulder for 2 races, and won 6 motos after that in a row. It's not over to that last race.
The weekend began good. Like, I was comfortable on my quad and the practice was good. And I tried to catch the guys on the front and I finished 6th. So it was a good first moto for me. Now I'm more confident, so everything getting better, shocks getting better, quad getting better.
As the 3 racers celebrate, Chad Wienen's mechanic Ryan Cox approached Josh Kramer about his controversial starts.
You should start inside the box next time.
What do you mean?
What do I mean?
What do you mean inside?
Baldwin had to push you in?
I was on top.
Exactly.
I was a little
You're supposed to be inside the board.
I wasn't on the board. I was still on the high side.
You were in the board.
I still got the whole shot.
On the next ATV 24/7, the competition heats up in Unadilla, New York, as Josh Kramer defends his points lead against Dustin Wimmer and John Natale. Does Dustin Wimmer have what it takes to repeat another championship? We'll find out when ATV 24/7 invades Unadilla, New York. ATV 24/7 is brought to you by Can-Am ATVs. The ride says it all. Previously on ATV 24/7.
Starts on the blocks again, I'm gonna shank his tire.
See what I did?
Yeah, that's horseshit. He did it the first moto too. Come on!
We finally knocked one of the Suzukis off the podium, and I'm looking forward to Tennessee and getting rid of the other one.
No, I don't think he's slipping. If he wants to, again, take it another step, he's going to have to step it up even more and do more than he has been doing for the last couple years.
He is here to win. He's not here to see his teammate beat him repeatedly over 3 rounds. Who remembers who did second place last year? Dustin Wimmer was first last year. Ask 90% of the people that are here, who was second? They won't know.
When the 2010 ITP Moose Racing ATV Motocross Championship opened up in Pell City, you know, everybody was looking at Dustin Wimmer. He looked like he, again, was on top of his game, and he was the man to beat.
When we went to the first round in Alabama, Dustin came out and pretty much dominated the first race. Kramer was right there. And then, you know, things kind of turned a little bit.
We head to round number 2, the balanced motocross, and I tell you, Josh just lit it up.
He's got more effort, more drive, more desire than any pro that's running this year.
So I wake up every morning and I go ride, I work out, I work on my bike, and I go to sleep. That's all I do every day. It seems to me like this is what I was meant to do, is race four-wheelers.
Round 3 at Birch Creek, you know, things are really starting to heat up. Kramer puts down 2 really good motos once again. He does what he has to do, and there's where we start to see Wimmer lose a grasp on that points lead and the championship hunt at that point.
The last 2 years, I've done the same thing and won the championship, and I thought that was always the best thing to do.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You catch me, we stop. You catch me, we stop.
And I think my body's just got accustomed to that, and I just need to switch some things up.
As we rolled into Sunset Ridge, it was a pretty exciting weekend of racing. You had Josh Upperman had been showing some glimpses of promise. Josh came into Sunset Ridge. He was dialed in. He knew what he had to do, and he went out and did it.
I know I can run up front with them guys. It's just a huge confidence booster, so look forward to the next one.
Round 6, we went to a brand new racetrack for the AMA ATV pros. You know, a lot of questions going into this round. It was nobody's home track, so no one really had an advantage, but as always, the same names came up again and again. It was Kramer, it was Wimmer, it was Natali, it was Wienen, it was Upperman, those same 5 names. Once again, Josh Kramer shows that he's the hungriest man for the championship at this point.
As the 3 racers celebrate, Chad Wienen's mechanic Ryan Cox approached Josh Kramer about his controversial starts.
Should start inside the box next time. What do I mean?
What do you mean?
Baldwin had to push you in?
I was on top.
Exactly.
I was a little
You're supposed to be inside
I was in.
the board.
I wasn't on the board. I was just, I was still on the high side.
You were in the board.
At Millville, behind the starting gate, there's a 4x4 block. You can be right backed up against that block. We found in practice that's where it worked for me, so that's where we started.
Starts on the blocks again, I'm gonna shank his tire.
See what I did?
Yeah, that's horseshit. He did it the first moto too.
You know, some people thought it might have been cheating, this and that, but the referee, Schmitty, was sitting up above us in the tower, and he looked everyone down the line, and everyone was fine when we took off for the line. So it's just one of those things. People might have got a little bit mad, but you know, it wasn't needed.
You know, the bad thing about being in a situation that Josh Kramer's in is, you know, you've got a target on your back, not only by all the riders, but all the mechanics now are starting to look at your machine a lot closer. They're looking at the lines you're taking on the racetrack. You know, was that a little too far to the inside? Did he start on the starting block a little too far back? They're basically under a microscope at that point. You know, I think the most dangerous thing that could have happened in the AMA Pro ATV class for all the riders other than John Natali was what happened in Pennsylvania when he took that win, because what that did is it relit a fire that seemed to be at a smoldering point. But it ignited when he took that win.
You know, the biggest highlight of my year would have to be Pleasure Valley, my home state. Was able to come out and give Can-Am the first overall of basically their motocross career.
First overall for Can-Am as a manufacturer is just huge. I mean, I've gotten phone calls, and those guys don't even know me.
John Natale sits 75 points out of the championship right now as we head into round number 9 here at Unadilla. And one has to begin to wonder, he's got the taste of victory back. Does he have the hunger and the thirst for maybe winning the championship now? Does he see a light at the end of the tunnel? And if that's the case, how aggressive is John Natale going to be on the racetrack? I mean, John Natale has said himself, I'm an aggressive rider out on the race course. And you know, once the adrenaline starts pumping, as competitive as John Natale is, if you're in his way, look out, he's going to move you.
Next on ATV 24/7, we follow one racer as he pursues his dream of turning a passion into a profession.
No marketing fluff. No ridiculous claims. Just a promise. The Ride says it all. Can-Am. Find out for yourself at the Ride Says It All Tour.
ATV 24/7 is brought to you by ITP Tires and Wheels with advanced traction technology. Previously on ATV 24/7.
So I wake up every morning and I go ride, I work out, I work on my bike, and I go to sleep. That's all I do every day. It seems to me like this is what I was meant to do, is race four-wheelers.
And you know, once the adrenaline starts pumping, as competitive as John Natale is, if you're in his way, look out, he's going to move you. You know, the great thing about AMA ATV motocross is it builds itself. It starts with youth riders right on up through the pros, and you've got every rank of rider that you can think of. And the final step, of course, is AMA Pro ATV racing. One of the riders right now is Cole Henry. He runs the production classes, and also, you know, he's kind of made that step up into the Pro-Am class and the Unlimited. And, you know, Cole's at a situation right now where, you know, he's got to make a decision. You know, do I go ahead and make that step into the Pro-Am class and maybe eventually make the step into the Pro class? As serious as it is, it's still a lot of fun in the A classes, but it becomes business once you hit the Pro-Ams.
This year, Cole Henry has made the decision to step up to the next class, Pro-Am ATV racing.
It's really the stepping stone to the pro class. You know, a lot of people are watching. You've got, you know, it pulls just as many spectators as the pro class. You know, you've got a lot of young guys, a lot of testosterone, you know, really trying to push it. The faster you get and the closer you make it to the pro class, the more press you get, you know, the more opportunities are available.
It's what it's all about, because you're laying the groundwork for your future, for possibly your retirement. A lot of these guys, I mean, are looking for retirement out of this. John Natale, Joe Bird, I mean, these guys, they're not young anymore. They want to stay in the industry. So, you know, these guys are looking at them, they're saying, you know, they've had a nice, long, fruitful career in ATV racing. I want to do that.
That's the stepping stone to coming into the pro class, to where you can actually make a living and do this for the rest of your life. The ones that do want to do it for a living and are really, you know, that dedicated to the sport, they have to perform, especially at this day and age. You know, we had a lot more factory support than what we got now, and there's only a few jobs open now, you know, if any, for the next couple years.
You know, you've got these pro guys with these contracts, they're signed on. They don't necessarily have to go out there and win to make, you know, to make a paycheck. You know, with this Pro-Am, you're not getting paid unless you're in the top 3, you know, especially winning. That's the only way to make money, and everybody's pushing it to make that. And, you know, sponsors are always watching.
If they had a sponsor, you know, a lot of times it was just a matter of they were just out there to make the sponsor look good, you know, and you gave them that as an amateur rider. But once you start going into the Pro-Am ranks and the pro ranks, all of a sudden your sponsors start expecting results. They want to see results from you, because now they're paying you for this. They want to see that their money's being spent wisely.
As the gate drops, these racers not only fight for a paycheck, but also for the opportunity to one day become a pro. Next on ATV 24/7, the pressure to win is not only found on the track, but in the pits.
Only one tire brand that lay claim to winning more ATV podiums than any other tire company out there. ITP. From the Quad-Cross MX tire, designed for hard-packed tracks, to the Quad-Cross XC, ITP's new cross-country racing tire. ITP sets the standard for high-performance ATV tires. And we've got the podium wins to prove it. Order your free ITP catalog today by calling 1-800-495-4080 or visit us on the web at itptires.com.
ATV 24/7 is brought to you by AMSOIL, first in synthetics. Previously on ATV 24/7.
We head to round number 2, the balanced motocross, and I tell you, Josh just lit it up.
He's got more effort, more drive, more desire than any pro that's running this year.
First overall for Can-Am as a manufacturer is just huge. I mean, I've gotten phone calls, and those guys don't even know me.
We finally knocked one of the Suzukis off the podium, and I'm looking forward to Tennessee and getting rid of the other one.
As racers, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we have a lot of pressure upon us from our sponsors and whatnot. But when you go back and you look at your mechanic, he's got just as much, if not more, pressure on him because our lives are in his hands per se.
John said they're working on the option line uphill towards the finish line. They're doing something to it.
The mechanic definitely has more of an influence on how the rider does, I guess you should say. There's much more into the setup and that kind of stuff that you have to have a good team behind you.
The pressure's there, but that's why we are who we are, and that's why we were hired to do this job, is because we can do it.
Under the Motorworks Can-Am tent, mechanic Casey Green prepares rider John Natale's quad for a weekend of racing.
Casey's he's a great mechanic. He cares a lot, and I'm really confident in the way he is with me and the way he is with my bikes. You know, I know that when I go out there, I'm on a safe bike.
I can't make mistakes. I do, we all do, but I can make one wrong mistake and it could end his career. And there's no excuses. You can't, something happens, you don't even try to give the boss an excuse. My fault, it won't happen again. Happens again, pack your toolbox, get out the door. I race through him. I don't expect anything but the best out of him, and it's vice versa. If someone went out there and fell off, he'd be all over my ass about it. He goes out there and gets second, I'm all over his. Come on, John, let's go! There ain't nothing like winning a race or being close and racing. It's definitely turns me into something different as soon as that gate hits the ground. It's all goes out the window when it comes time, and don't get in my way. I'm the same as him.
Working with my new mechanic, Joe Havel, he's awesome. I mean, knock on wood, and I don't even think we need to knock on wood. He's an awesome mechanic. He knows what's going on. He's got a really good head on his shoulders, and he's got just as much drive to win as I do. So I push him, he pushes me, and we get along great. I'm really happy with him.
Honestly, I try to put it off, but it's getting more and more stressful knowing that it is a possibility to win this championship. So it's definitely building on me, and these last 2 races are the most important races we've ever had. So I feel the need to work on the bike from till the minute it takes off the gate. Just every bolt counts. So if I touch every bolt, I know while he's on the track, I feel so much better. Josh is, if the 4 wheels are on the bike, he'll ride it. Dustin's a little more finicky, and I think too now, being second in points, he's mentally changing things that I don't see necessary, but he's not my rider, it's not my deal, but I see a lot of changes going on over there. I think they're trying to find the edge that he's been lacking a little bit this year. So, I don't know.
As far as people saying this is Josh Creamer's championship, what does Josh have to look out for? His biggest enemy could be himself. He's got a 25-point lead. He's never been in this position before. On the other side of things too, Josh also may have to be on the lookout for specifically John Natale. John's not out to hurt anybody by no way, shape, or form. If you've ever noticed when John bumps somebody, it's just a little push. This late in the season, I think he would be more apt to do it now than he would be at round number 1. So You know, Josh Creamer's two worst enemies, himself and John Natale.
Next on ATV 24/7, the gate drops and tempers flare up during the exciting conclusion of this episode of ATV 24/7. When you're here and he's here, do you have what it takes to get here before he does? No problem if you're riding with AMSOIL, the original synthetic motor oil. AMSOIL Formula 4-stroke and Dominator 2-cycle oil in your ATV gives you faster acceleration, unequaled wear protection, and maximum power to your wheels. AMSOIL Automotive products do the same for your tow rig too. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. After the practice laps and the qualifiers, the pro racers prepare to compete in two separate races called motos. The top 10 fastest riders earn points based on each moto. Adding the points together, the riders with the highest combined scores are the overall winners of the race weekend. Right out of the gate, Josh Upperman grabs the hole shot, and in high-speed pursuit is Dustin Wimmer, Joe Bird, and Josh Creamer. Upperman and Wimmer separate themselves from the pack. Josh Creamer passes Joe Bird to third. Natale charges from the back of the pack to salvage valuable points he needs to challenge Team Suzuki for the overall points standing. Natale fights his way from 12th to 8th. As Josh Upperman pushes ahead, two-time champion Dustin Wimmer is not far behind. Meanwhile, current points leader Josh Creamer holds on to a safe third-place spot. Natale advances from 8th to 6th. Upperman keeps a healthy lead as Team Suzuki trails behind. As the checkered flag flies, privateer Josh Upperman captures the first moto, followed by Dustin Wimmer in second. John Natale, currently third in overall points, battles his way from 13th to 5th place.
You're a bad dude. You rode your ass off, dude. For the start you got.
What was that, like next lap?
Pretty damn close. Like right at first you were all right, and then something else kind of happened. You were pretty far back.
Well, it was hard because it's not a passing kind of track, you know what I mean? So the only way to pass is to kind of like have a lot of contact.
Smash 'em.
Yeah, to have contact, and it doesn't really work.
I don't care. That's what we're known for.
Under the Baldwin Motorsports tent, Moto 1 winner Josh Upperman reflects on his perfect win.
Gate dropped, I had an awesome jump, and off I went, pulled the whole shot, and I don't know what got into me. I mean, I just kept telling myself, keep pushing, and it definitely was a good bike for me today.
Meanwhile, under the Suzuki tent, points leader Josh Creamer reflects on why he couldn't catch the privateer.
Like, and then you went into the corner and like...
I could have stayed on it, but we would have went like that.
I was like, and you let off.
I let off and just tucked away. Upperman was yarding us. Dude, I look over and he's like 3 bikes ahead of me. I'm like, what the hell happened?
It's here during Moto 2 that will determine the overall winner of Unadilla. As the gate drops, John Natale takes the hole shot with Josh Creamer in second, followed by Chad Wienen for third and Dustin Wimmer in fourth. Natale and Creamer fight for first. If Creamer stays behind Natale for a comfortable second-place position, he'll not only capture the overall win, but also avoid jeopardizing his chances for a championship.
Let's break, go!
Creamer challenges Natale for first. With John's aggressive riding style, one bump off the track could cost Creamer his championship season. Natale makes a mistake. Creamer takes the lead. Natale surges back. Kramer holds on to first place with John Natale right behind, followed by Chad Wienen in third and Dustin Wimmer trailing in fourth. Rockstar Makita Suzuki rider Josh Kramer takes the win. His teammate Dustin Wimmer comes in second, followed by Motorworks Can-Am racer John Natale for third.
On Moto 2, I ended up getting a hole shot. I basically thought that we had to win in a bag once I was out there. I knew Josh was on me, but I wasn't going to let him around without a fight.
The first probably 7-8 minutes I was riding at 95% or so. I was all over him, just trying to find a way to get by him. Luckily, when I put a charge, he made a little mistake and I got by him, so it worked out.
The rest of the moto, we had a great battle. I just couldn't make it stick. He's a great rider, smart rider, and he knew where I wanted to be, and he was always there whenever I wanted to be there.
Leaving round 9 here at Unadilla, we put another 5 points on Dustin Wimmer, so now we're leaving here with a 30-point lead, and that's pretty comfortable. As far as the last couple rounds, you're just going to see the normal me. We've just been trying to be consistent all year and playing it smart out on the track, and I think I proved to everyone this weekend that we're ready to be the champion.
Frustration grows for two-time champion Dustin Wimmer.
I think I need to get out of a rut I'm in right now, and everybody starts wondering when I'm not winning all the time. There must be something wrong. But I try to just try to do my own thing and just try to focus on the race. It's the only thing I can do. So there's only one spot to go from. Last 2 years being the champion, that's down.
On the next ATV 24/7, with only 2 races to go, a new champion is emerging. Can Josh Kramer withstand the pressure and seize the championship? Or will Dustin Wimmer rise above his frustrations to hold on to the top spot and win a 3rd championship?